Alright, what's up? It's your boy. You know, this lighting is terrible. My hair looks awful. Oh my god. Wow, what is happening? Anyway, this lighting is god awful, and I'm not gonna fix it because the light's all the way over there, and I don't feel like turning it on. So this is what you're gonna get. So, this week's topic is pre-name change struggles and how to deal with it and things like that. And that's always a hard time for people. And I know that this process, depending on where you live, is a very difficult process and can be very grueling and excruciating, and a lot of fighting with people and companies, and it's just a mess in certain places. It wasn't difficult for me. The only thing that was difficult was my gender marker change on my birth certificate. That was pretty hard. I know a lot of people in Pennsylvania that have not had a difficult time doing it, but it was very, very difficult for me. I had to fight with a lot of people at the office that handles that, Department of Vital Records. I had to fight with like 6 or 7 people. I had to get a bunch of places to call them and certify that this was okay, and blah 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 blah. But pre-name change, the biggest area where I had an issue with this was at hospitals, doctors' offices, things like that, because they call you in the waiting room by the name that's on the paper, and a lot of places do not have a preferred name section, or if they do, it's at the very, very bottom of the form, so they're reading from the top down. And so if they don't get to the bottom before they just shout out your name, and then you stand up and it's a very awkward situation. Some places, my name still to this day is not changed in their systems, and I've had my name changed for 3 years-ish now, and so that's always an awkward thing, but I've kind of found a way around that, and it's kind of a good thing to do with everything. It's a good thing to do with getting exposed and trying to limit that. What I always did was I kind of made a pact with my friends, my family members, somebody that if I was going somewhere, one of the females would go with me, because when they call my dead name, then we would both stand up, and it was like I was going with them to the appointment. And then as we got past the door and the door closed, that is when we would talk to the nurse and tell them, like, hey, here's what's going on, blah 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 blah, and explain the situation. I've never had a problem explaining that to doctors or nurses or healthcare professionals, because I think that's very important for your providers to know, because your care is very different. And if they do something, it could greatly impact you if you don't tell them, because your body is different at that point. Or the way they treat you could be different depending on what it is that they're treating you. So I've never had a problem with that. I know that's an awkward conversation for some people, but I think that we as a community need to get more comfortable with talking to our healthcare professionals about that, and our healthcare professionals need to do a better job of trying to address that right off the bat, because that is very, very, very important. Like, I actually have had a conversation with several of the hospitals in the area about asking that question up front and getting different things put on their forms, because I have not had bottom surgery. I have not had a hysterectomy. And so technically before I go get an x-ray or any kind of radiation or anything like that, I should be asked if there's a chance of pregnancy, and I should have to sign that form still. But since I'm passing male and my gender markers change on that, I don't get asked that question, and that could potentially be harmful to me. Even though I know that there's no chance that I could be pregnant, but there still is that question that needs to be asked because it is something that could still happen to me. But so if that's something that would work for you guys, if you have somebody in your life, a female in your life that female identifying person, in your life that would be willing to go with you to appointments, that your name is not changed, and would be willing to sit with you through that and kind of like take the brunt of it off of you, that is a great solution. If not, I know there's not always people at your disposal like that. When you go to like triage or at the beginning, just put a little note in there or write it on the top of the paper or whatever you have to do so that they know, like, please don't shout this name out. It could be potentially harmful. Most places, at least in the healthcare field, are very good about that. That I've experienced, at least. I know there are places that do not like that, more conservative areas. I do live in a semi-conservative area that does not like change or things like that, but our healthcare professionals are very open and okay with that and very progressive in that sense. So I know that there are people that that's not a possibility for, and for you guys, I hate to say it, but you just got to stick it out for just a little while longer till you can get that name change. Maybe call around to your local hospitals and get in touch with the resource officers or the customer service or patient advisors or whatever it is, and explain the situation to them. I'm sorry for all the background noise, by the way. There's a bunch of people in my house. My sister's cleaning her room in the next room, and she's vacuuming, and my mom is yelling at my sister and stuff like that. So I apologize for all of that. But it's very necessary for you guys to just take it one step at a time. I know that it can be triggering, and I know that, but just know that, especially if you're somebody that passes, if somebody yells out a name and you stand up, a lot of times people don't even question it. And now, more so now, in modern age and in the era that we're in 2019, there is a lot more names that are moving between the genders. And these people are blowing my mind tonight. Okay, that are moving between the genders, and so a lot of people don't even think twice about it. Sure, there may be instances where they do, and that you just have to assess your situation and make sure that you're safe. And if you have to talk to somebody, once you get back to the back, and make sure that you can be escorted out in a safe way to get to where you need to go so that you're not in harm's way, then please do so. But that's the big situation where I had problems with my name change. The name change could be a grueling process. Depending on where you live, you need all of this identification, and you need all of these forms filled out, and you need to file it here, and you need to petition the court, and you need to do this, this, and this. And then there's other places where it's really simple. And if any of you need any resources or anything like that on getting your name changed, I can help you with that. I do have access to certain things that are needed for a lot of different states and counties and districts and magistrates and all of that stuff. So if you need any help, let me know. I can always find out the information for you, or just Google it for your county in your state, and find out what your district needs in order for you to do it. And it should give you step-by-step instructions on how to do so. And then you can go through that process. For the people that are in financial hardship and don't think that they can afford the name change, there are options for you. I know in the state of Pennsylvania, there are options where you can petition the court for financial hardship for the name change. And so it would be covered at cost and you wouldn't have to pay for certain things along the way. Sure, you're still going to have to come up with a chunk of the money to do the actual official name change, but all of the other stuff would be covered and they would just do it for you. But you have to petition the court for that also along with the name change. So I'm sure a lot of states have something of that sort because there are people that do change their name and don't have the financial means to do so. So if you need any information or any help looking that up, please let me know. I can also get that information for you or help you find or point you in the right direction to get that information. Pre-name change is kind of a tough situation to be in because whenever you fill out a form, your legal name has to be on it, and so you're kind of stuck in a hard place there. And I know it's a struggle, and I know sometimes it can be really, really grueling, but your time will come. It won't be hard forever. And just remember that you are you no matter what anybody else says. And I know that's hard for us sometimes because our identity really relies on other people for a large part of our transition, and a large part of our journey lies in the hands of other people. But we have to remember that no matter what other people think, no matter what other people say, no matter what the outside world wants to believe or do or how they want to act, you are you because you say so. And all it comes down to is, do you accept yourself? Do you believe that you are who you are? And are you happy being the person that you are? And if that's the case, then nothing else matters, and you are doing exactly what you need to do to be the best you that you can be. And I know that it's hard, and I know it's not always the easiest thing, but if you remember that and keep that in the back of your mind, no matter if you hear your dead name 500 times a week or you hear it once every 3 years or anywhere in between on that spectrum, you can get through it, you will get through it, and sure, it's not a pleasant feeling, but find ways to cheer yourself up and turn that around, to use it as something to fuel you to do something good for yourself on days when it's really, really hard or days when it's going really badly, because sometimes people just suck. It's just the way that it is. All right, and so keep pushing through. The name change will come. It will come. Sure, it's not always at the rate we want or when we want or how we want, but it'll come if you want it. And if you choose not to get it, that's completely up to you also, and nobody can take that away from you. Just remember, people go by nicknames all the time that don't have anything to do with their legal name. And so, even if you don't want a name change, you're no less you than anybody else. Okay? Love you all. See y'all next week.